Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Welcome to round two of Dia versus Penguin8r. Penguin8r won the first matchup between the two. As you see, he has his little dwarven castle. Job Dwarf lit up. Thank you, Randomania, for the raid. For those coming from the Dusty Infinius raid, please no spoilers in chat. But I have a seed here rolled by the lovely Scala Kitty. Tybalt is doing our tracking, and I am joined by Martin Broadcloak. Martin, how are you tonight?
I am fantastic for a Friday evening. How about you? You ready for this?
I am. This is a great matchup. This is a immovable object, unstoppable force. Penguin8r eliminated me from this tournament 2 rounds ago. And was the winner of ZZ2. Dia is a very well-known runner for just being, just downhill, beat everything with absolutely nothing. So this is a matchup I'm very excited for.
Yeah, and looking at the starting character, well, that's about absolutely nothing. As we sit there and stare at an Edward in our face to start the game.
Yeah, I would be hoping for anyone who can deal damage to be joining us in Baron Castle, or with these new Neki flags, maybe something like a dancing dagger, because otherwise even something as trivial as the Antlion Cave can get pretty rough if you're starting out with an Eddie and an Iridia, for example.
Oh yeah, Team 90 HP. Yeah, everybody loves that start though. It's great entertainment.
Yeah. From the booth. From the
booth. Yeah, we were talking about this where it's like, okay, oh, look, it's King and Queen Evelyn in Antlion. Oh, I can just walk away and get myself a drink really quick. Come back and you're dead.
Yeah. It's just still looting. Still looting 12 minutes in. Where's that dancing dagger going to be?
I'm looking forward to it. And like you said, looting is going to be important here. I mean, don't underestimate the power of, maybe you find a random elven bow, just something small to get Edward up and running. But,
yeah, and with the T Pro, the T Pro, the S standard, and the fact that you can't sell anything, there's a lot of looting, but not a lot of keeping.
Very much so. And yeah, I mean, to that point, obviously some of the most important time during the game is going to be this first 30 seconds where we see what this starting kit is going to give the runners. So I'm looking forward to seeing what nothing they get.
Yeah, and there's a huge variance here. You can start with 22,000 gold, or you can start out with a heaping stack of 68, 70,000 gold.
Okay, that's I saw a pigtail. I saw a little bit above average in terms of money, but I saw basically cover strat Cecil kit there. That was a lot of armor.
Yeah, it's looking like once you get past Ordeals, you're gonna at least be able to breathe a sigh of relief, particularly with this DKC start. I'm also equally, along with Eddie with these Neki flags, you could get Dancing Dagger and Black Sword, or you could get Charm Harp and Darkness Sword. Just the polar opposite ends of the spectrum on early damage.
I'm gonna be greedy. I'll say a Black Sword on Cecil. Give me an Archer Bow and like mute arrows, or something of that flavor for Ed. Not that I don't enjoy myself a Dancing Dagger, but that bow and arrows, there's something about it.
Okay, so short bow and ice arrows we see with the Eddie. I don't think we've seen what is on that Dark Knight Cecil. 2 slightly different routes. Don't dislike the boss check. And we're getting some looting here in this slightly better treasure area in this Watery Pass from Dia.
Yeah, definitely one of the better areas. For anybody that's ran T Pro, this is a completely different ball from Swiss and what was T Wildish, where you could literally find just about anything anywhere. T Pro is a bit more stringent on that, so runners have kind of figured out over time that, yeah, Watery Pass is still pretty decent, but short of that, there's not a lot you really want to touch. Maybe Evelyn Castle, and that's about it.
Yeah, once you get underground, the loot gets so much better. I know when I ran these seeds, I tried to loot as little as possible until I got something, like the hook where I can start looting that Cave Eblin.
Mm.
Or if with magma, there are just plenty of chests abound at that point. But we did see there's a crystal sword. We found a dancing dagger. There was also a piece of diamond armor. So to your point, once we're through Ordeals, that Cecil is gonna just be fully geared up, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dia looks like spied out Kaipo and saw there was an old man in bed. Not the old man, but the oldest of old men in Tella. So that may be one of those where we don't see Tella ever again.
It's nice to know if you're really looking for an anchor. We do have to find Rubikint, but we do have the one character objective of getting Yang. So I do know Dia likes to make that check. It's decent information.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to your point, if you find that sand ruby down in the Luca cave, I don't think we're gonna walk that all the way out.
No, not at all. And to answer a question from earlier, yeah, see that little red sword on Cecil? That means black sword. So that is his best starting weapon. So that definitely will help in the early game.
Yeah, that has the ability to proc swoon on enemies without the boss bit. We did pick up that dancing dagger as well. So, the initial fears of not being able to put out damage alleviated, and that Palom certainly doesn't hurt either.
Right. Obviously, your goal here, keep Palom alive. Palom, as great as Palom is, needs a level. Once you get the level and you get that level 2 spell up and running, then Palom is the thing. But that Pale Dim is not having any of it from Dia tonight.
No, this very early low levels mean that punches here typically wouldn't do all that much, but with this party at the levels that they have, you really are just trying to outspeed as much damage as possible. Because the minute you have to start throwing life pots is the minute you're behind in the count, and every punch is just gonna knock somebody right back down on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but this boss as well too. I mean, we're all used to early game where, okay, let's just punch it in the face or cast spells at it. Well, about that spell part, it does not work very well against this one. Mainly because, well, it just decides it wants to absorb everything.
Yeah, that one bonus level here with Palom wouldn't do all that much, at least until we were up to Virus. But there's not that much HP here. I think really, as we've seen, you're going to get high variance in these damage rolls, and as long as one or two of those punches hits, the person you're not trying to output damage with, or just rolls. We saw a 34 roll there as opposed to, 90s or 100s.
Yeah. And it looks like both runners rewarded with, hey, look, it's 0 GP. Don't worry, folks. That's actually common in this flag set. Get used to it.
Yeah, if you're used to seeing people sell off large swaths of equipment and things that they have looted to gain money to sell things, that is not going to be the case here. I didn't see the exact gold.
42,000 on the mark.
Okay, that's not a terrible start, but the only gold you're going to get moving forward here is going to be from boss fights and trap chest fights. Nothing sells, nothing is going to be in those chests, so you have to be quite frugal if you want to succeed in this economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you obviously having been in brackets. I mean, you're budgeting. Well, there's an elven bow, and I am a fan, and mute arrows. I'm a fan of immediately purchasing an elven bow, just because straight accuracy, the boost to magic, if you happen to have a Palom or something in your party. Works great against mages. I feel like for 10 grand, that's a pretty good investment. What are you have 42,000 in the seed. What are you spending your money on?
I will say I'll look away when I'll do it, but I would buy either a mute knife or an elven bow the first time I saw one.
Mm-hmm.
Just for those reasons you mentioned, particularly for that mage weakness.
Yeah.
And knowing I have a Cecil in the party, somebody who can wield a mute knife or an elven bow, just that way, I can breathe a sigh of relief. My coin purse just got a lot lighter, but I at least I don't have to worry about, you know, the the second spot of the Baron Inn being the Maggot Sisters and, you know, not having the right kit to get through it.
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. And looks like the reward from defending Fabul was just a rat tail. So useful item. Assuming the hook isn't sitting, you know, behind Ruby at Ogopogo on the moon or something. You know, I mean, it could be a thing.
Yeah, there are few seeds where I would say I actually would hope to run into a hook. And this would be up there where, you know, it's a longer route underground, but in a 1v1 when I'm sitting on those two things, like you said, that the thing I hate, or the thing that frustrates me the most is knowing that those checks are just sitting there, and that they could be gated by something all the way up on the moon, or you know, your opponent finds that hook early, and literally all of go mode is just behind that one key item.
Or, you know, instead of go mode, let's go a different route. Obviously, that pink tail stares at you in the face, one, because it's an objective, but you have a Cecil on your party, and that means out of the 8 items, 4 of them tend to be pretty useful for Paladin Cecil. So all you need to do is hit one of them, and you're kind of in a very happy place.
Yeah, a crystal sword, you know, you might call it a game changer.
Yeah, slightly.
Defense sword is okay, but crystal sword's really gonna give you a pretty firm direction on how you want to run the rest of the seed.
I mean, I wouldn't turn my head in Excal, an Avenger, Artemis Bow. Mainly a sword, though. I definitely want one of the swords.
And we have get Yang as an objective. I don't think defeat Yang on the bridge counts.
No.
We're sort of easing our way in.
No, unfortunately, this time, yeah, we don't get to see the around a world and back kick, courtesy of Yang in this one. So, sorry. That's okay. You know what? Maybe we get a game 3, come back, and we'll do it all over again. So.
It is one of the most glorious, the Zentetsuken around the world as well. We've already seen Odin, though, so that's not going to happen either. But those are two just very entertaining things to observe.
That great 1990s game coding where, you know, things that they really didn't plan on. And then we got a hold of the game, and wow, look what came out.
Yep, another interesting thing with these flags relative to the Swiss flags, for example, is you don't really get those Cure 2s, the tents, everything in that starter kit. And as I say it, this is one of those fights where, you know, if you don't have the way to cure up your team, you don't have a good way of getting through. Sorry, runners.
I was wondering how fast that reset was going to come out. Like, wait a minute.
This was another question I was going to ask you as well, is when you take a Palom up Ordeals, you have, depending on what fights you've seen, because XP can get split and you maybe don't get full XP, you can take fights on Ordeals to get Palom up to Virus before you do the bridge, or, you know, even after you do the bridge before you go to Baron if you haven't gotten Virus yet. Is this something that you would consider doing here?
I would, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Ogopogo is not going to pull any punches at all. So, you know, your mind is like, all right, I have 2 options right now. I walk back down Ordeals and do something else, or I get enough levels, which ironically, the kid is now level 19, to where I can get Virus, burn one of my Star Veils, and just start bouncing viruses at the thing. Because that's about how this fight's going to need to go to get through this. So absolutely, I get that kid Virus as soon as humanly possible. Even
with Virus, well, we're gonna see here that giving up half of your health and without having the gear that's gonna let you absorb a punch, we're in for an interesting, because there's unlike Pale Dim, you know, Ogopogo has its own feeling about magic being cast.
Yeah, it decides it does want to counter with a nice little blaze that just, you know, immediately zaps a quarter of your HP. So yeah, don't cast spells at your neighborhood Ogopogo. It doesn't end well. And
this is one of those, you know, when you're trying to run as fast as possible, there's a pretty good chance you can get straight through these fights. Palom is pretty strong. You have this DKC with the Dark Sword, but then we are seeing the advantage swing slightly in Penguin8r's favor with just something as simple as having Cure 2s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't underestimate the power of curatives, especially when you don't have a white mage. Especially when white mages sometimes just flat out aren't guaranteed before you hit go mode. So that's something, that goes back to the whole money thing is, things you budget for is, okay, in the towns I do check, I really hope there's Cure 2s there because, a 10 stack of those can go a very long way when you run into things like this.
Yeah, 100%. And we are seeing Penguin take advantage of this reflected spells not triggering the reaction script. These lit 2s, 1k, 720. This is still going to be tight here, I think.
Yeah, it's getting the job done, and so I
don't know about the job being completely done here.
Yeah.
We're right on the precipice of it. The other issue is because of the speed and the fact that Starveil was on Palom, who's in the middle. Palom doesn't have that wall anymore.
And the issue is great at menuing is, both these a lot of runners are. This Ogopogo does not care. You don't have time to get someone up and get a Cure 2 off, especially when this script is, hey, there goes half your HP. Here comes a couple punches. There goes a quarter of your HP. Here's some more punches, and you're just like, ugh, does it ever stop?
I'm trying to numbers up what a quarter of Palom's HP. I think Penguin's just taking the safety Cure 2 there.
Yep. But on Dia's side, Dia's threw the Baron in, and oh boy, it's a darkness crystal. I'm going to the moon. I'm looking at that Ordeals like, I go get somebody on the moon that can probably help me with this problem.
Oh, Palom is 3 HP shy, I think, of this. My math.
Yep.
Oh, it was a double.
Yep.
Okay, would have been 2 HP shy.
That's gotta. As a runner, as a broadcaster, that just hurts because this is the final 8 of the tournament. You don't want to give your opponent any advantage. And wiping to that, you talk about how it's, hard to say that, oh, well, my opponent wouldn't have done that. Maybe they did. But in this stage, with the caliber of these people, I feel like Penguin8r right now is like, great, I just gave 2 minutes to Dia. That's not good for me.
No, you don't want that feeling. There's, you can always think, okay, 1 or 2 mistakes and I'm okay. But yeah, as you said, as the skill gap narrows, you're gonna carry that. You're gonna carry that wipe with you for the rest of the match, and it very well might impact your decision making. And we're seeing Penguin8r here with a similar strategy. I think virus, and you get through that fight the first try. The cast time on virus and the amount of damage it's gonna do. It's more damage, and it doesn't take nearly as many ticks to get off the cast.
Yeah.
So
also a huge difference here as well is that when Dia was up here, Dia used a Siren, which guarantees the rare encounter on this floor, which happens to be the 2 Liliths, and that's worth 5,500 experience. Versus Penguin8r, where, hey, we're walking around to try to find a fight that literally doesn't, is weak to fire across the board, because some enemies up here are not, and those fights do take a bit longer. So
yeah, there's the bomb J item, which I'm not sure if we saw, but it's one of those things I've been on the lookout for ever since the last tournament, because oh wow.
Oh boy. So about getting through Ordeals.
I think we'll have fewer problems.
Just a hunch. I don't know why. Oh
Vanilla Fusoya.
Yeah, and comes with Lit 3. Sure, why not? So we have a mop. You know what? I don't go back to Ordeals yet. I hit up Miss Cave, and this is, let me go get some more spells and see if I can get possibly an early nuke on him. And then I just go blow everything up.
Yeah, this Fu is a game changer. Lit 3 obviously is a nice spell. Fortunately for Pengu, this Fusoya is not, the immediate vanilla Fusoya, even though it is in the vanilla spot. We still need to kill a couple bosses, but that Lit 3 is going to make it pretty trivial to get through.
Yeah. And yeah, to absolutely nobody's surprise, Dia. Yeah, 3 more spells on Fu? Yep, yes, please. Because, yeah, obviously you run this. What's the battery of spells you're looking for on Fu? What makes him more or less operative immediately?
Even something like, given that we haven't even done Ordeals, we haven't done Antlion, I would take Quake, I would take Virus, because even that Ogopogo, Fu might not have all of his spells, but he has his levels. So those punches aren't going to deal that much damage. You have the potential white magic as well. At least to get through that Ogo, I'm fine as it is, but I'm going to take these fights first because, why not? If I get nuked, then I get nuked, and then it's one turn.
Right. Looks like penguin8r got through and was rewarded with a package. So that is definitely something that I could see penguin8r spying. Hoping it's a Fu. Really hoping it's a Fu. Probably be another Edward. I don't know. Could be.
Well, if it's a Fu, that's actually kind of terrible for penguin8r.
Yeah, because now you're sitting. Yeah.
But that was not leg. We are hunting the leg. That was fake leg there in the mirror room. That was the elements fight, not the Rubikint that we're looking for.
I mean, come on, we're both hoping Ruby's up at Ogopogo on the moon. I mean, that's what we want to see.
It's not a fun fight.
No, 9,000 HP glares and every counter fire 2 doing like 400 to 600. Oh, it's a blast, let me tell you.
Yeah, and the fire 2 damage is spread out, so the more people you have on the floor, the more fire 2 damage it does to the people who are still alive. Which I've never experienced. I've just seen other people have it happen to them.
Yeah, it looks like Dia's doing the full rotation of the let's fill out Fu's spell list. So
I go Lit 3 here. Come on.
I mean, I feel like that makes sense.
Why not? And we are going to get the immediate package check.
That is interesting. And that is also interesting. Huh.
So we have Earth Crystal, we have an edge at the package, but Earth Crystal is, I mean, treasury is okay in these seeds, but that's 2 more character checks, and if that's an edge, as well as that has to be, I believe, your required path underground.
And there's nothing worse than sitting through a character and then through progression, find it, and then, oh, look, there's a character, same one for free. I could have gotten. Great, I just wasted 3 minutes doing the package. We've all been there. It's always a great time.
And these Neki flags, unfortunately, Edge and Fu, Fu still has the spell list. Fu is still pretty strong, but neither of them come with all of that gear, which is really, part of what makes them, or at least before these flags, would really put Edge online. Was just he came equipped with +10 strength and 2 swords.
Yeah, it's funny how we, a lot of us kind of underestimated, like, oh, really, it's just short swords. I mean, that can't be that big of a. Yes, it can. When he comes with a fire claw and nothing else this time around, trust me, you missed the basic starting equipment. Oh.
Yeah, I do love this edge. This edge means, Dia did burn a siren. penguin8r hasn't burned a siren, but Edge does guarantee you sirens. So even if we don't find them in shops, if you are looking for a grind, that Edge is going to be able to provide.
Yeah. And also not only sirens, but I mean, you look at the party for penguin8r right now. This is kind of like prime Bacchus wine territory as well. So God forbid those aren't in the scene anywhere. Edge also guarantees you those as well. So.
Yep, and I've certainly seen, if we end up with a hook route here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw penguin8r, take that bad over fight half, maybe to get some XP, but then also just as importantly, you steal 1 or 2 Bacchus wines, and that's going to help you tremendously with those 2 fights coming up.
Yeah. Also, this is a really rude spot for Mom Bomb.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of terrible.
Typically, this is one swing with anything you have, and now this fight just makes this check just slightly longer.
Yeah, right. Question from the chat: does Hook have to be on Overworld? Underground access, because a flag called K Unsafe is not on. Underground access has to be on the Overworld somewhere. So whether it's Magma Key or Hook, one of the two have to be here.
Yep, it can be through Earth Crystal, it can be through music, it can be through Baron, the regular Baron Throne. It can't be the Baron Basement. So we could technically still see a long chain, but it's guaranteed to not be through the moon with these particular flags. If you're looking for a bad time, though, there are plenty of flags where that's not the case.
All you gotta do is turn that K Unsafe flag on, and boy, can you get some Let me tell you a few stories about K Unsafe and K Trap and what that turns into. It's a great time.
Oh yeah, and as Tybalt, our tracker, is pointing out, we haven't seen any of those bosses specifically, but Golbaz, Valvalis, and Wyvern also, they could technically gate one of the 2 ways underground, but they aren't going to be gating your only underground access.
Also on penguin8r side, not only rewarded with the edge, but hey, longswords are for sale. So yeah, that I think ranks up there. That's another one I'm perfectly fine spending money on.
Yeah, that nest egg is growing smaller and smaller, and you're about to get these overworld shops. Sure, give me 20 life potions, give me 10 cure 2s, but then when you hit those underground shops, and all of a sudden those big ticket items are hanging around, it's gonna get interesting. But I believe we're about to play one of our favorite games here.
Paid all the treasury.
Treasury.
That was a pretty okay treasury.
That was, yeah, I would say, considering our well, obviously not Dia yet, because Edge, but that's pretty useful, I would say. What would you rate it?
Given our party, given that the treasury is not going to be this T-Wildish, crystal swords and defense swords and Avengers, I would call that about a 7 or an 8. Honestly, that light sword is really big for your Cecil, considering I believe both of theirs were currently rocking an ancient sword. So that's quite an upgrade. There was a full moon in there, which will, at least for Pengu, have a back road edge. So not great. I would have liked to see, maybe a sorcerer robe, a black belt, some other things for these Zerkers, but not the worst.
No, not at all. Yeah, like you said, that light sword, that full moon. I mean, I saw a drain spear in there, and I do love my drain spears, especially with an edge. So.
Oh, and that Soma drop as well for Futsoya just goes from 3 nukes right on up to 4. Just a full 33% increase in nuke ability.
That was always one of the offensive things, going back to 3ness Zone, even before that, where, Tella, great, you're 10 MP short of Medio, or, that 4th weak cast. And then Fu, it's like, yeah, here's an extra nuke for you. Like, I mean, the power of that item is just, with the right characters in your party, is ridiculous. And look, speaking of ridiculous.
Yeah, we got a double check here. So, speaking of routes underground, if Antler Cave hadn't actually given, the Earth Crystal, This would have been your last dying hope of being able to get underground access, because this spot is technically accessible without the Earth Crystal.
Yeah, and how many people out there have when they first start playing this game, and this randomizer been like, well, the game said I'm supposed to have underground access, and I've checked everything, and I don't have it. This is the one exception. This is the only other route it can be, and it's always hilarious when we get to see it.
Yep, demist hiding here. This could, I mean, with a demist here, the real prayer is, you could run the entire seed, you could clear the moon, you could clear the underground, and then at some point, usually after doing the Baron Basement Throne, in my experience, you say, wait a minute, I haven't beaten, I don't have everything I need for Go mode yet. And you go, oh, it's a demist, it's a demist and Magus Sisters.
Yep.
Just sitting there laughing the entire game.
It's always a good time. I enjoy it. It's rare that it happens, but it's some runners are known for spying that one and being wow. Speaking of spying and being rewarded,
So I don't believe Pengu made that trip up to the moon yet.
No, he hasn't.
But this is sort of the reverse of, I mean, depending on who the second character is of what we were discussing, is this will save Pengu a run up and down from that. Never mind.
Well, scratch that theory. Oh well. But there's our Yang though.
Yeah, and this is an early enough Yang where, actually, I think Dia's character count, I mean, she's keeping that young anyway. We have no dupes on, so even if you wanted to, Asuka, you can't have two Eddies in your party. But you will be picking up this Yang, you will be enjoying it, and you will be carrying this Yang all the way to the end game, assuming... Yep. I mean, we are sort of building towards a Zerker party, or at least Pengu is really going to be set up for, some sort of hybrid strat, in my opinion.
Now, the one thing I will say, at least on Dia's side, finding your character check and getting it out of the way, that package is now off the table. So we're probably not going to go spy that one at all. There's no character, I feel like, that you would sit through and wait for that one. Not with a party built like this.
Yep, and having seen Demist removes... having seen Demist and completing one of your two random objectives means that Giant is officially not required. Package is officially not required. Package could have had Rubicant, but you could still win the game without having completed the package at this point.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, look at that. We got ourselves a hook route. Unless D.Mist decides to give us a Magma Key, or the Rat Tail gives us a Magma Key.
And good on Dia for remembering about the D-Mist. I've certainly
always
never...
enter from the right.
Oh, she does have the package too. That could have led to... That could have led to a quick reset into... Oh, well, there you go.
Oh. Tella. There we go. That's a thing. But yeah, if you haven't learned that lesson, folks, yeah. Anytime you're checking D.Mist, always enter from the right. Just in case you get locked in with the package.
I was about to say, we're early enough in the game, and she knows that that's a Tella. I'm really not against... if you're going to have somebody be your anchor, it might as well be somebody who can cast Blink in Cure 4. So...
He's such a great early game utility mage. Blink, Stop, Weak, Berserk. I mean, the occasional, God forbid, virus that you throw out with them. But yeah, I mean, all those, and like you were saying, you look at this party as a, kind of a Berserk party. Where's my source of Berserk right now? It's right there.
Even into the Z fight, you can have Tella open that fight with a Berserk cast, and that saves you. That gains you a couple turns before that first big bang comes out. This is a play I've seen a lot from penguin8r, and I don't know how I feel about it. because I've seen him find a couple fights here that were some iffy fight takes, but I mean, he's a phenomenal runner, and I will say it's worked out for him more often than not, and he beat me, so I'm not sure where I stand.
You know, it's like my old saying about the pink tail, where it's always a white shirt until it isn't. This check, I will always go check it, and I will do it, and if it rewards me, fantastic. If it doesn't, I hate life afterwards, but I'll do that fight.
I'll take this fight. I was going to say they had looted an hourglass as well, I believe, from the watery pass, so that with knowing its hook route from Dia's side, Pengu doesn't necessarily know its hook route. But if I knew it was a hook route, you can just head on up there and take those hair dryers for a nice clip of 50,000 XP on your Cecil, and that's really gonna make that hook route a lot more trivial than it otherwise might be.
Yeah, and looks like there's our reward for the pink tail was Bahamut, but the rat tail, on the other hand, that is something we wanted.
Well, we now have 2 objectives completed, all through doing the Earth Crystal. A check that I don't think anybody really particularly loves, just given how long it might take relative to the potential reward. But I mean, when you're on a character hunt, it's got a lot more value with this objective setup.
Yeah, and obviously getting the adamant from that rat tail as well. Yeah, I mean that makes Zot hard required. So yeah. You are doing the Earth Crystal if you want to beat this game. But this is fun time. This is 2 guaranteed tier 5. Well, that is yep. Notice I didn't say there had to be anything else other than the 2 guaranteed tier 5 items in that shop.
Yeah.
Oh.
But okay, Edge not necessarily needed to, be able to get you sirens. I know both of these runners pretty well, and for Dia, 5 sirens is probably 4 sirens more than she's ever going to use in a particular seed. But
probably
you never wanna have to come back and shop here, and you don't really get much more money, so you might as well knock this out as much as you can right now.
Did you see penguin8r and what he got as a reward?
I did, and well,
yeah.
I mean, he's behind the the length of that check and completing Zot and those turn-ins, but the minute that he gets underground, he has the potential to jump right back in front of the queue.
I was gonna say, if that pan evolves into anything, that is really dangerous.
Evolves? So, there's not another phrase that you might want to use for
I'll get back to it.
All right, we'll think about
disseminates? How about that?
Okay, that's actually what I was thinking of. So
okay. Wait, really? You were thinking disseminate? Of all the words out there?
Yes.
I'm actually terrified.
It's a very common it's a very common crossword puzzle answer. When we see Dia here not looting at all, the Mad Ogres, they're not going to give Fu any more spells. I don't recall what the boss was that we saw there, but
Lunars.
Either way.
Lunars. Which will be very short-lived Lunars here in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, so it will. I mean, Pengu making this similar play. There is the hourglass in that inventory, but when you don't know if it's a hook route or a magma key route, the whole, when you have sirens, the whole take the hair dryers thing is not nearly that valuable of an XP thing. You just got the XP from Cave Bahamut. But for any runners out there, the hair dryers chest up there is a very, very solid way of gaining free XP with an hourglass, particularly if you're staring down something like a rude hook route, or you have 940 XP on Cecil. If you did the hair dryers, you'd be up at 1300, 1300, and then you can really just not bother with whoever you're gonna run into here.
Right. That and a shot at a tier 7 item as well is always a good thing to have. Yep, also, I swear there was a boss there. Like King Queen Evelyn spot. I'm pretty there was something there.
I don't know if there is a boss there if you have nuke.
I did. It was a very short-lived boss. That's what it was.
This is maybe I don't even think Evil Wall against Foo with Nuke and anything is going to be a difficulty here. These could be frustratingly gating bosses, whatever, but no, not here. Yang unfortunately didn't start with the Fire Claw either.
So penguin8r getting looting done, courtesy of the Earth Crystal. So that edge will actually start putting out some solid damage now. So
yeah, you love to see that. That gives you the back row. I mean, Mylon Z here could be with the wrong party. You know, those punches could hit pretty hard. You might have to, you know, put some effort into, you know, thinking and zerking. Unfortunately, you can't use Quake. So that could have been a potential obstacle, but I don't think we're going to see too much difficulty in getting through here.
no, not at all.
You can't see it, but if you were to just pan the camera down a little bit, Mylon Z is actually just a millimeter off the ground.
I'm not going to ask how you know this, or
I'll
if that's even true. I mean, it's pretty
quick on Mylon Z.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I haven't done that before, so thank you. Spoilers, I have done that before.
Oh yeah, we've all. I mean, I still do it. It's an instinctive action.
Yeah, Quake breaks everything except for, you know, Plague and Mylon Z. Yeah.
Plus, some things that look like they're like floating in the air, you can still cast Quake on. So you know, obviously, it all makes perfect sense somewhere.
So Dia threw the hook rat though. Saw the spy of the top of tower. That's a blue robe.
Oh, that's a 50-50 right there.
Yeah. That's one you keep in the back of your mind. Just remember for later that, you know, I mean, for me, I don't know, feel free to disagree with me on this. If I had a tower key, I'm probably going up there right now.
If I have a tower key and a Foo,
I'm probably going up there now.
I'm not against going right up there.
Yeah.
We were discussing this earlier. That alt gauntlet, as far as alt gauntlet goes, is really not that difficult of an alt gauntlet. Two of them are the Searcher fights. And Drain Sword just broke penguin8r's Scream.
Well, you know, the power of that weapon, let me tell you.
And it sounds like there's some technical issues on penguin8r's side, so we'll keep you posted there. But as we see, the one thing I would consider, Martin, you know, is you get a couple boss checks here. Maybe you find the other blue robe, and then you have a certainty when you go up there.
Yeah.
But we don't have the tower key yet, so I don't think keyless tower is really the highest on the list of priorities.
No, not when you have dwarfs sitting, you know, staring you in the face, and you know that's a.
Oh, that's such a fun spot.
Oh well.
This is I've had to fight some Rubicons here for a required Rubicon, and I will say, I mean, this Foo might not make it nearly as difficult as it could be, but the magic damage here is surprisingly high.
No, you're whoever gets hit with a glare is going to die. Yep. It is going to be painful, and there's no stopping it.
And those fire twos are not pleasant. You know, you're saying 4, 5, 600. You're still taking about 300 probably as a group here.
I mean, I'm sorry to say this is kind of the Foo and Quack Kid show right now, and everybody else is just sitting there and kind of not doing a thing. Like,
yep, I would throw cover up on someone.
Yeah, I'm not playing with those counters. There is no way.
Yep, and as Zoe points out in chat, there was an Ice Brand, and you know, getting those swings in does sort of slow down the fight. But the amount of damage you're going to take from those Fire 2 counters, I agree with the way that Dia is running this here, which is just, let's cover, let's hope I don't get bored AI on all of these punches and the glares, but otherwise, this isn't with this party, this isn't too terrible of a fight.
No. It's also nice too, obviously, Young and doing the power doesn't trigger the counter because it isn't considered a straight physical attack.
Yep, and there's not too much health here. That's well done to get through, but yeah, this is... If a glare hits the wrong person, then maybe you have to backtrack. There's a low chance that you're going to have to reset with that foo on your team, and double reward, really.
Yeah. And it looks like Penguin is through Dr. Dialogue there, so we'll be heading underground here shortly via our hook route.
And we do see Dia saving up here. That's Asura in the second spot. This is a curious... I don't know if I take this fight here on my first dip, but...
Yeah, it's that age-old question of, do I... I mean, yeah, like you said, it takes time. But I never have to come back here. And if it's dead, okay, fine, it's dead. But, I don't know. You go back to what you were talking about earlier about, things you buy. Elven Bow, Mute Knife. This is 35,000 HP of dealing with this, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is interesting to chew through. There's a lot of physical attack damage here. And, we can bluff up Palom. We can reflect nukes, and we don't have to deal with the damage. But it's going to be a lot of cycling around. It's certainly, like, this is a relatively free fight if you just reflect all of your damage because it doesn't trigger the punch counter stripped. But to your point, you always feel great when you pull something amazing out of the Fey March, and even if it's only 1 in 10 times, you just sort of hang on to that idea.
Yeah.
Of like, I got value from the Fey March. It's not like, oh, I got a dragon whip for my required boss fight in the Fey March. Throwing that rune X on Cecil. But here we go. The punches do not play around here.
No, at all. I mean, it's extra damage, and I get it. And in all reality, Fu and Cecil will probably be just fine. I mean, the nice thing is doing the double star veil trick on this. That wall's not really going to run out, so you don't have to worry about Asura healing in this fight. So.
No, Asura's wall is not going to go anywhere. The only concern would be, is Fu's wall still up, or did I just accidentally nuke myself? Again, I've seen other people do it. Never happened to me.
Oh, okay.
I always check.
Okay.
It might happen. It's happened.
Really? Go in the item menu and just see the little word there. It says wall, huh? Every time, without fail.
Nobody's got time for that.
Okay, all right.
Oof,
I feel like chat's probably calling you out. Yeah.
What? What? When have I ever been even remotely dishonest?
Oh, speaking of who's calling you out, hey, it's our tracker. Hey, Tideball, thank you for guarding the buttons from wild possums, and thanks, boss, i.e. Scala, for making sure this all works and doesn't catch fire and newspapering me when I deserve it, where the count is currently at 1.
Yep. And here is when great ideas turn slightly south. And again, this fight is still 100% free and 100% winnable, but this is where you start to sort of bleed time. And to your point, earlier when Penguin8r tried to beat that Ogopogo first try, these are just the things to sort of just sit in the back of your head, particularly, if you end up with a Drain Sword from this fight, you're going to feel not great about having taken it.
Not that we all haven't dealt with that before. Hey, here's a vampire or a longsword or a Boreas. It's like, wow, I just gave my opponent how much time for that? Great.
But this is, yeah, I mean, this is always, you know, no matter what seed you're running, if you're in a community race or if you're racing one-on-one, this is always, you know, that Feymarch gamble of bosses you can take, and very nice Quake to finish it off as well.
Is the reward going to be worth it, though?
I mean, it depends. It depends on what you're, you know, what you're looking for from that. I mean, maybe Twin Harp, yes, but it's a really nice sword, and in a different flag set, you could sell that for a lot of money.
Yeah, and you know, can't even wear it or dart it, or it's just there. And the sad part is, you don't reset out of it because, hey, I fought this. I'm keeping the experience.
You
Like,
take that
no.
XP.
Yeah.
Why not? Sirens are expensive.
Yep.
But the likelihood that we run into another edge, or that, you know, even at this juncture, you would take another edge, you know, it would basically have to come from something like Dwarf Castle immediately. And we are now seeing this Sheila 1 check.
I mean, to your point, you know, you look at both sides of this. You look at Dia, you look at penguin8r. I mean, we're kind of, I mean, this is like endgame type party. I don't see trading out anyone, especially at this time frame. I mean, yeah, you haven't done your grind yet, but I mean, who's going to fall into your lap that's going to make such a huge difference? Maybe a Rosa dwarf, possibly.
That would be my one consideration. Would be I would probably ditch the Palom for a Rosa if I got her a dwarf. But other than that, I mean, I would trade any future character checks for an Excal or a Crystal Sword.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do you think? Think Sheila has the goods today?
Sheila won with the Baron key, and now, you know, Dia is sort of beginning to reach that point in the seed where you have a lot of decisions that you can make. And, you know, only in hindsight will you know if one was correct or the other was correct. Because, like you said, you don't really need characters. We finished the boss hunt and the character hunt. So Dwarf is not that appealing to me anymore. And Baron, you know, if I was still hunting bosses and characters, would be slightly more appealing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're on a 2KI hunt. Either one of them finishes the game for you. So, you know, maximum reward, minimum time. Where are you going? Dwarf probably isn't going to be on the table. Baron, 2 key items that make sense. Bottom of the moon probably comes in play. I mean, there's definitely going to be like routing choices here that you're going to see where you're going to go quantity and just try to spike one of them that wins you the game.
Yeah, they're both in a this is a really precarious situation because, you know, if we hadn't found that darkness crystal, then your routing would have to be, you know, I'm trying to gain my moon access as well as, you know, maybe I just, you know, sort of snipe go mode and then all I need is moon access or Zeromus access. But now with everything available, whatever check you're taking is, you know, a check maybe, you know, someone else is already up on the moon. So I think both of these runners have played enough where, you know, when you start making decisions here, you just have to say to yourself, well, if they're up there and that's where it is, then okay, then I lose. But I can't spend this time second guessing what it is that I'm doing.
Right.
And those oh yeah, go ahead.
I would say we needed a little vanilla in the game, so, you know, Baigen doing Baigen things. Actually very happy to see Baigen here. There are a lot of places you don't want to see that one at.
Yeah, Vanilla Baigen is one of the kindest Baigens in the game.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is at least a couple of those nasty spots are already out of the game, but there's still a couple on the moon that Baigen can do some very mean things to you if you're not careful.
Yeah, when it comes like something like that Leviathan spot or the really punchy spots in the game, or just really high HP spots, something like the element spot, where you're just the arms have so many hit points that it's just a slog.
Yeah.
But this is really the big question, I think, that's been weighing on my mind is, what is Sheila 2 and what are the pan checks going to be?
I'm waiting, and I am if either one of them is go mode, I mean, I can't fault Dia for it. I mean, a lot of the times, my brain is, having run the game, it's like if I'm on a dual boss hunt, yeah, I love spying value. I might even spy Murasame altar as well. But, going up there and just peeking it and having it possibly pay off, I mean, how do you play against that? That's not easy to, make that call.
No, it isn't, and routing top down is a very contentious debate in the community right now. By that I mean, some people love it, some people don't love it.
Yeah.
When I make decisions like that, I base it half off of how well do I think I've run the seed, and what do I think my opponent is doing, and am I ahead? That's not go mode.
Well, no, but I think Dia just won up Penguin though.
Yeah, it's go burr mode.
Yeah,
for
like,
sure.
hey, I got next scale from the pan. Cool, here's my crystal sword. Yeah, what about it? Uh-oh. So, yeah, going back to that conversation about finding Rosa. Boy, would I love a Rosa right about now. I mean, I'd love Cecil go burr mode, but having, I guess Fu would work. It's a power couple without the couple.
Yeah, I mean, now that you have that crystal sword in hand, I'm a lot less concerned about even, maybe potentially not even seeing a second Big Bang.
Yeah.
Because I can reflect 2 nukes, I can have crystal sword Cecil going. The worst we're going to see is 2 Big Bangs at this point.
Also, sad face, no, old googly eyes is not on the moon today. I'm sad.
Ever since this whole discussion about the eyes, you just can't unsee it.
Right?
And it's like, is that like because Antline's like a tunneler, and that I'm trying to justify why they point that way in my head. Like what
peripheral needed to I don't know. How about we just blame it on all the time Antline usually spends on the moon? Because that's usually where Antline ends up.
Antlion dug so deep. And he just woke up on the moon one day. This really isn't a terrible spot for Antlion.
No, not at all. Well,
particularly relative to super punchy Moon Antlion or Leviathan Antlion, because in a place with medium punch and medium magic damage, and you can typically just sort of burn it straight down like this. You don't really have to bother with the script.
Yep. Well, we have our shortcut. I mean, that's nice, considering either objective that we find here requires us to come back to turn it in. So if our go mode is on the moon, we grab that. We're never going back until we hit Z. So that's a sign of mind.
Yeah, that is a convenient thing. If if Penguin8r were to skip Baron entirely, it would probably be right around net neutral. But if you're gonna do the first Baron, at least if the second, you get a crystal sword, it's nice. The second one gives you a pass. You at least feel like you didn't lose time to somebody fading Baron against you. Now I don't know who would do that either. I've never faded. I've never faded Baron Castle in my life.
Fading Baron Castle, fading Antlion. Hey.
And yeah, it looks like we have Pengu sort of rehashing what he had seen. This is To be expected, this is the required Rubicon fight. And Dia choosing to go dwarf. You know, it'll be curious to see what they have to say at the end of this because, you know, Pengu gave up that 2-3 minutes on that, you know, sort of that failed Ogo fight. You have to think, well, maybe Dia went and got that food. That doesn't make you feel great. And then with that pan check not playing out either, you know, you might be routing from behind, but then Dia with that Asura fight might also be thinking, you know, if my opponent ran this very cleanly and skipped that Asura fight, maybe that's why we're seeing Baron and Dwarf before something like a Moon play. Pengu's excuse me, Pengu's best hope here would probably be hoping that Dia goes top down and finds that pan and then immediately goes for those pan turn-ins, because that will make up a little bit of time that we're currently missing. And I mean, Wylam in chat noticing, yes, those fire twos are brutal. I wasn't lying earlier.
No. They add up, and boy, do they add up fast. It's not pleasant being on the wrong end of those. But to your point, I wonder. I mean, I don't disagree with the whole, hey, chase the pan. I mean, you look at how many key items are left in the pool, and you like to think that 2 of them, or even 1 of them, would be behind the pan. It's not, you know, necessarily a bad thing to save scum that. We're also leaving out Keyless Tower is the thing too, and you know, with Dia doing dwarf, it's one of those that you sit there and think about. All right, you know, with the time that they've both given up with, like you said, the fights that they did, are we in the mode where, well, I'm not gonna let my opponent beat me with a check that, like, you know, in all reality, would I do all the time? No. Am I just going to take care of everything on Earth that I feel like, okay, if I can take this out of the equation, then it just turns into a foot race and I can beat, you know, Penguin8r or Dia, whoever says it, just based on that. So, oh, hey, look, Rosa's in dwarf. Surprise!
And we're not taking Rosa. Okay.
Oops.
See, once I have Crystal Sword Cecil, and you know, Dia is an amazing runner of this game, so this isn't a criticism of anyone else's choices, but this is sort of when like Palom with Quake stops offering as much utility to me. Granted, you can't slingshot in these, so you know, depending on when a character shows up, it becomes harder and harder to justify taking them for somebody who's already gotten, you know, a 250,000 XP or whatever we're at this point.
Yeah, but you know, and I'll play devil's advocate on this one then. You look at Dia. Dia's at 9 key items right now, and like you said, you know, Palom is okay. So there's 2 ways you play this. Either, all right, I hit 10 KIs. I bought those 5 sirens. 5 sirens will get me gold dragons, get me to nuke, and I'll just go blow up Z at the end. Or hey, I take Rosa. Maybe 2 gold dragons, maybe 3. Gets me cure 4. Now Fu can stay on nuke duty. Rosa's taking care of healing Cecil, and the fight still becomes that way. So, I mean, which route do you take? Is either of them the wrong way to go?
I mean, I personally, knowing the way Dia runs, I mean, the way I run typically is, on these flags, I'm not going to take the time to get Palom up to nuke, so whatever Rosa can offer in a Z fight is probably going to be more than a couple reflected viruses, but
yeah,
that's just the way that I like to route these seeds. And as we see here, we have Penguin8r taking on this, switching over to the Asura fight, and now they're both even on accidentally nuking one of their party members.
Cecil just needed a nap. Nah, he'll be fine in the morning.
He was grumpy.
Yeah.
And here comes, we're seeing the dive from Dia. This really, as you mentioned before, this sort of leaves Penguin8r top of tower to be really the place to check that's going to pay off. I think this Asura fight might be one of those things that, you know, all of us do in 1v1s where you think, I have to gamble, where am I going to choose my gamble?
Yeah.
And then you discover that, oh, well, they also did Asura. So this wasn't, you know, this wasn't the perfect gamble because it's sort of rehashing positions we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
But Dia cleared everything besides the top of tower and is now headed down to the bottom. So assuming we find some value here, isn't going to run into that sort of that pan check trap,
Right.
Which is good news for Dia.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, I'll pose you the question. Obviously, she's going down. Do you buy Ribbon and do Plague Spot first, or depending on what Ribbon is, do you just suck it up and because it's 2 KIs, you just blow that one up first? If this was you right now, which one do you do first?
Well, if I'm correct, Dia's at 10.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately, I'm going to check Ribbon. I'm going to see who the boss is. I'm probably going to, if it's not something I want to take or I think is going to be slow,
Yeah.
then I'm going to check White Spear, and then I'm still considering if I still have that Hourglass. Never mind. This is what's going to happen.
So now, fun part about this though, this is kind of an XP grind built into this spot.
Yep, and with that Hourglass in hand, it's not just a potential XP grind. This is a potential, you know, if she wants to go with just the Stone Cast, which is okay, you know, my tournament's life is on the line here. I'll take 200k XP.
Yeah.
If you weaked and Ice 2'd, or I mean, if you really wanted to get silly with it, and if no one's seen this, if you could Toad all of these, you could weak Ice 2 into a life and then a life 2 and bring the officer back up as a Toad as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, I mean, you could get as much XP, particularly you have 2 life 2 casters on your team right now. And this is obviously not what D is doing, and I have no arguments against it because we're trying to go fast. But you know, when you see a fight like that, you know, the sky's really the limit when it comes to how much XP do I, you know, do I feel like putting into this?
And boy, was that some indiscriminate trash canning right there. Holy smokes.
What was that? A Stardust Rod and nothing? Was the other one just
Stardust
empty?
Rod and a Crystal Shield. Yeah, a whole bunch of like just.
I
But,
do
you
love
know-
Dia just indiscriminately wiping everything out of her inventory, just in a very like, well, I don't need any of this.
You're at the end of the game, you know, that inventory boss rears its head, and you're just like, really right now? I'm trying to win here, and you're going to spring that one on me? You know, I'm not having this. I get it. I can relate. Oh, well. So is there anything on the moon not free?
You know, one fight ago, this might have posed some form of difficulty, but now we're just still looking at free as free can be.
I was gonna say, so what have we seen on the moon? We've seen King and Queen Evelyn, we've seen DKC, and an officer in his front. Like, I'm,
Hey, those soldiers, you know, punch moderately hard sometimes if you give them repeated opportunities.
hey, Gwen. Is this our value? Yes, it is.
Okay, so go mode for Dia.
Yep.
And pass in hand. Dia is gonna have, I would say, you know, 2 swings at Zeromus before, you know, Pengu left directly for the moon here.
Mm.
So, well done, Dia. I mean, this is just, you know, when everybody runs as fast as these people in the top 8 do, you know, it comes down to certain fights, certain checks don't pay off. You know, the King Queen into the pan, not getting anything out of that versus, you know, just deciding to just grind straight through everything as quickly as possible.
Yep.
His go mode in an hour and 7 and some change is pretty fast.
On bracket flag set, yes, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I do races with friends and things like that, and we talk about people that sit there and think, all right, well, 90 minutes. If I'm not done in 90 minutes, I'm slow. No, this flag set is kind of unforgiving. So you can have seeds that end up like this, and you can have 2-hour debacles with a required D dot missed on the giant. So yeah, it speaks a lot to the talent of these runners when Dia can just sit there and be like, okay, I'm hour 7 in, cool, let's go finish the game.
Well, and I will say, it doesn't look like Dia's going to grind because, again, when Dia first bought those sirens, I had commented that I doubt we see Dia use any of the sirens, which she has not.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first race between the two of them. Dia did have, one of those 2 to 3 minute advantages. Granted, her team was not quite as strong as this team is. But did take an unfortunate wipe trying to basically reflect with only a white and a new caster on battle speed 1, which I don't think most people are crazy enough to even attempt, let alone almost beat Zeromus, or probably, I would assume 6 to 8 times out of 10 Dia does beat Zeromus with that exact setup.
Yeah.
But we are headed into Z. I've only seen 2 Z flags, which I believe is for our restreamer Scala Kitty.
Oh, is it that time already? Wow, I'm so fast. There's like a question we're supposed to be asking, right?
I think there might be, but
Okay.
I don't think I remember, so I'm gonna pass this off to you. I did the intro.
How many sprites are there now? Like 520. There's a lot of sprites. Someone put Z behind lock and key because, I mean, why would we let Z loose on the world? What fun would that be? Spoilers, it'd be a lot of fun. But we randomized Z sprite. Give it a little flavor. So Z might have a butt. We all like butts. And I believe we have to kick a butt. But no one's ever asked the question, what happens if Z doesn't have a butt? Then what do we do? I don't know. I guess we deal with that afterwards, but whose butt are we kicking tonight, PK? What do you have a favorite?
We kick something anyway. I mean, I have my own sprite in the pool. It has shown up, just not in the tournament, so I'm still rooting for it. Maybe it did show up, I don't remember. But Darkamus doesn't have a stomach, but I'm pretty sure there's still a butt back there. So I guess we don't have to answer that question tonight.
Nope. That is definitely a butt. I'm pretty sure. So,
did somebody shoot a heart, like a giant heart, through the center of it?
PK?
Evidently, it's from Kingdom Hearts, which just confuses me further because it's like this thing is deliberately the absence of a heart, or it's been shot with a heart. Maybe that's what Kingdom Hearts is just hearts.
I will put money on the fact that if you went and Googled this right now, you'd probably find like, I don't know, 36 pages written up on explains exactly what you just asked. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. Like, I feel like it's out there.
I mean, the artwork is fantastic. Only all the love in the world for Scala Kitty, who is pioneered and created all of these wonderful Zeromus sprites. But this looks like what was that Spider-Man villain that's made out of like the black goo?
Who, Venom?
Venom, yeah. This looks like the amorphous like Venom version of something. And I'm half only doing this just to see if Scala will continue to god microphone and criticize everything I have to say.
I'm just waiting for everyone to be like, wait, why can't we hear PK anymore? What happened? I don't know.
I've been kicked out of racers before.
But yeah, we're Dia's side. This is make Cecil do damage and make sure Cecil and Fu stay standing, and the fight is, I don't want to say academic, but that's kind of where this fight leads to.
Yeah, and that one bonus Soma drop potentially again coming in handy in that 4 nuke casts. Well, we're gonna have to see if we get another Big Bang. It doesn't particularly look like Dia is anticipating a second Big Bang because she has not taken the time to heal anybody up. Oh, there we go.
I was gonna say, and who says math isn't useful? You just have to count HP totals. It's easy. Everyone can do it. No, spoilers, not everyone can do it.
Yang is participating. I've seen some comments in chat. We'll take that. We'll take that 1200 damage. He's got sort of like a fencing pose when he only has 1 claw equipped.
But it saves frames when he doesn't punch twice.
Here comes the shake. So the combo platter, as we like to call it, would be really the only threat to this team here.
And for those that don't know what the combo platter is, you obviously have not been on the wrong end of it before. So if you happen to trigger a Big Bang and somehow hit the HP threshold of where Z falls below, 10, 12,000 HP and goes right into Meteo afterwards, you can kind of kiss 2,000, 3,000 HP goodbye in the blink of an eye, and there's not a lot you can do to stop it. And It feels really bad when you're on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, and we did see a nerf with the counter nuke reflecting off of the Palom shield, so that's the best possible outcome there. We do have the black hole come in, so this is another type of combo platter, potentially.
But getting that Cure 4 off did help, though.
Yep, and that Fu also got a Psych cast off, so does have 2 nukes in the tank.
Oh, and we've got rocks.
Rocks falling at that black hole into... So once the black hole goes off, those Zerkers get 1 more swing in a piece. Which essentially means you can tip and then they're no longer Zerked. But that's 7k from the nuke. And I think we hold A out here.
Yep. I did like how Z decided, it's like, oh, you want to nuke me in the face thinking this is over?
How do you like it?
I got one for you.
How do you like a nuke in the face,
Hold my beer. Oh, but that's a flash of bang, and that's the Heartless fading off into nothing. We have a winner.
Yeah, so congratulations to Dia evening out the series at 1 apiece. This next round, unsure when it's scheduled, but that will be the deciding round, and I believe we're joined by Dia. GG.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG, Dia. Well played. All right, PK, you get to lead off with questions.
All right. So I think the big question. Oh, okay. Dia's back. I think my big question is, with that early game routing when you ran into that Ogopogo, you got the Darkness Crystal, you picked up that Fu. How did you feel? Did you feel ahead or behind when you did end up with that Darkness Crystal into that Fu, or did you sort of think maybe if Pengu got through this first try, then I'm down Ordeals, but we both have the Fu?
I felt like getting the Fu, probably even things out. I think I was on PK's side.
I guess I follow up with a question for you then. Same question, but that Fey March. Obviously, seeing Ruby there, well, Ruby is just rude in that spot. But the choice to do the Asura afterwards,
It was single dip.
just be done with it and never have to come back regardless.
Yep. Had a rune axe as well, so and reflecting nukes. It wasn't going to take too long. It was going to be pretty easy to get through, so just go ahead and do it.
And then the Baron key into clearing Fey March, was that what your plan was going to be the whole time? Was sort of just clear the Earth before you went back up to the moon, or was that like reactive, or what was your thoughts? At basically after that Asura didn't pay out.
After that, it kind of just comes down to the fact that if Pengu already went up to the moon, like going up there at this point is not going to help me really. So I should stay down, clear what's available. Obviously I have the Ruby up already, but just clear what's available, get food like all the way up, because he wasn't all the way up at that point. Then like just get some levels on the others, so I don't have to do too much of a grind. And also, I was very close to 10k items for the longest time. And going like moon when you're that close to 10k items and you have all these other checks available, that's just a waste of experience.
Yeah, absolutely right.
No love for Keyless Tower though.
It was a blue robe. I'm not risking that.
We were curious if anyone wanted to 50-50 that. No one has so far.
Yeah, that's like, I see that, I'm like, nope, not seen either. We're not going there yet.
So you're obviously, you get the win here. You're now 1-1. Game 3. I mean, does anything change as far as planning or anything? Or, I mean, is this just this is how I play? This is what I'm going to do, and
Yeah, it's kind of just play my game. Last time, like, I lost because I wiped to Z. Like, I can say that, like, if I just play my game, I have a good chance at winning this one, and I know I do. So I should just play my game, not change things too much, and just do what I think is going to be fastest, and that'll be the best way to go.
Yeah. Well, I personally am looking forward to it. I can probably speak for most of Free Enterprise because, hey, we're all greedy and we just want to see more games. So, congratulations, and I'm looking forward to Game 3.
So I take it you're in for the tie then.
I'm not allowed to comment on that. I'm still I'm still recovering from the newspaper strike from earlier, so I know nothing. PK,
I'm rooting for the tie.
I bet you are.
We need Game 4. Three's never enough.
But we'll let Dia get out. Dia, take care. Once again, GG. Very well played race. Very impressive.
Thank you. Thanks for the commentary. Thank you for the commentary. Thanks, Scala, for the restream, and thanks, Tibble, for the tracking.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, GG's.
Oh, hey, you're back.
Yes, I believe
okay.
I was briefly removed by our lovely restreamer for
okay. Things happen.
Just calling it how I see it.
You gotta watch out for that T word. It's a bad word. I've heard admins frown on that one.
We do see Pengu just got through that ribbon room fight, so I would assume is gonna head to White Sphere and grab his go mode as well. But incredibly well run from Dia.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, great. The thing is, I mean, it's great races on both these parts. I mean, Penguin obviously gets go mode here. You're on a timer. You're probably done in, I don't know, C fight. You probably don't need to do a grind with Cecil at 3000 HP, so 10 minutes? I mean, bracket flags, 130 is still a great time. It's just when you're in this level of gameplay, minute here, minute there just adds up, and
yeah, and you know, you could definitely see when Dia ran into that Rubicante fight. You know, she had a very specific plan, and we saw Pengu try to use some ice threes. We saw him try to, you know, do some physical damage. And those are all strategies that have been employed by many runners before. And in that spot with those levels, it's you know, that's one of those Rubicante spots that you really need to know are not going to pay off. And
oh, hey, look at what Dia's doing. You know, I do love me some Mega Man music.
yeah, and as Pengu's on his way to Forge, big thank you again to I mean, everyone in the community, everyone who's put this on. If you're enjoying what you see and you think maybe I want to get more involved, always feel free to join the Discord server. But then specifically, you know, Tybalt, who's been pushing the buttons, keeping track of all the key items, and Scala Kitty is always rolling another classic Scala Kitty seed. And Martin Broadcloak for putting up with my shenanigans.
I mean, you know, it's not like I can remove you from the room and put you some. That takes effort. I'm. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. I'm glad I got to do comms with you. It was a great time.
Yeah, I'm having fun. We are seeing Pengu's going to take a couple levels here, it looks like. We do know, you know, from Pengu's perspective, we've seen the dot done come in. So, you know, you have go mode, you might as well just grab that nuke spell real quick and just make it a little more trivial.
Yeah. I mean, you can't take the sirens with you into the next seed anyway, so you know, you might as well use them. Oh. Penguin doesn't have the pass. Uh-oh.
No, we've got
Uh-oh.
So when I lost to Penguin, I didn't have the pass and I had already lost. And so I turned my party into pigs, and I did the whole lunar subterranean walk as a pig, and then I realized I hadn't even turned in the pigtail. So then I just forfeited. It was less than ideal, but I mean, you know, I already lost at that point anyway, so.
I think it got the point across. But yeah, no, walk down the entire LST. No, we haven't done that before. Oh no.
But I'm not sure. Do we know when their next match is scheduled? I
don't know. I mean, the good part is it can only either be tomorrow or Sunday, so. So yeah, I mean, that's not that, you know, it couldn't be another day, but I'm pretty sure the admins, much like the T word, would frown upon that one too. So yeah, we'll just assume sometime in the next 48 hours we're gonna see round 3. And then, God forbid, if they, you know, do it Sunday night and they tie, and you know, round 4 has to be immediately afterwards, then, you know, oh boy.
I'm not bringing that up. I'm not bringing that up.
No.
For those of you interested in more free enterprise, we will be back tomorrow, potentially with round 3 of this, but most guaranteed we will have Starman versus Pancraz will be at 7 p.m. Eastern on the one of the Randomania channels, as well as the Dusty Griff versus Infinius are playing at 9 p.m. Eastern back here on the Free Enterprise channel. So at least 2 more matches tomorrow. We are wrapping up the top 8, heading into the top 4. So we're getting towards the end here, Martin.
It's hard to believe. I remember back when we were still doing round 1 of Swiss, and boy, how many races there were that we had to get done in a week, and it feels strange to be down to 8 people, soon to be 4.
Yeah, dozens and dozens and dozens of matches all crammed into a week, and now all of us no longer participating get to just sort of sit back and relax and watch the end.
Yeah, sometimes be a bit jealous, but yeah, mainly just watch and wonder what could have been. That's okay though. There'll be more tournaments.
Well,
I mean, like you said, Discord. I mean, there's a ladder going on.
what is this ladder that you speak of?
I hear it's like organized elo type racing with various multiple flag sets that cater to a wide variety of people. And this is quote unquote season 1/trial, iron out the kinks. And season 2 afterwards we'll be back with even more, and basically it's enough free enterprise for you to drown in. Let's go with that.
Yeah, if you like boss hunts that aren't in the regular route, that you have to then go searching for them in the King Queen Evelyn and package in giant spots, then by all means the ladder is phenomenal. At least that's been my experience recently.
They've got flag sets for everyone in ladder. You have push B to jump flags. You have the new Sea Hero flag set. I heard they're bringing back old Zemus Zone 1. They have a new derivative of that flag set that's supposed to be probably in all reality bringing back memories that should be left dead, but that's okay. People like suffering. That's how it works. So
As
yeah,
long as you don't have to hold Y anymore to sprint.
I don't miss those days.
But the ladder is great. Yeah, it's randomly paired 1v1s on a variety of flag sets. And the idea is eventually, as people spread out in the rating system, you will you'll be paired against somebody of a similar win-loss record or something along those lines, or elo.
Yeah. Call it caliber.
But yeah, feel free to join the Discord. We do have the ladder Discord in there. These runners have both put on a great show. Phenomenal work. Top 8 is nothing to be ashamed of, but we are, we get one more match of this regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And the entertainment value for me has just been phenomenally high as we get towards these last couple rounds of the tournament.
It's one of the age old, how do you get better? You either watch people better or you play against them. And both of us being out of the tournament, but this'll do. This is where you sit there and just watch, and there's a little bit of awe involved. Like, wow, these two are really good at this game.
Yeah,
Followed immediately by, boy, do I have work to do.
Yeah, they move very, very quickly. A 1:15:16, considering all of there was a hook route. Dia did not exactly just pick up all the required items for go mode, in those first checks.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of the seed got cleared here in 75 minutes and change.
Yeah. Oh, that looked like yep, that is it for Penguin. So Penguin has finished with a time of 1:31:14. GG's to Penguin. Very, very clean Z fight. amazing what few levels will do. Makes
Yeah.
everything easier.
Those 2 nuke casters pretty much guaranteed we weren't going to see another big bang, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it looks like when you kill right before that big bang goes off.
Yep. Well, we'll see if we can get penguin8r in here for a small interview. But yeah, please, matter of fact, while we were talking about those two, make sure you go follow them as well. Definitely go follow penguin8r, go follow Dia, go follow Tybalt, follow PK. I hear he does things involving music sometimes. Also plays Mystic Quest, I've heard rumors. I can't quote whether that's true or not.
Played Mystic Quest. And Martin, I will say, puts on some very entertaining streams.
I've been known to do things from time to time, and yes, definitely go follow Scala as well, because she's the one that the brains of the operation. Definitely the brains of the operation. But speaking of things and brains, hi Penguin.
Hello.
GG.
Thank you.
So that Ordeals.
Yeah,
That
I
Ordeals
felt
and
pretty
that
good about this
Ogopogo.
run, apart from Ogo and Rubicante not knowing how to do those fights.
Yeah, that was. I mean, obviously we have the luxury of watching both of you side by side, but yeah, that Ogopogo just it had both your numbers there for a little while. Doing that, I mean, did you ever think that, you know, hey, my opponent probably is having the same issue as me right now, so, you know, I'm not bleeding time dealing with this, or?
I'm never thinking that against Dia. I mean, runners make mistakes, but I'm not gonna count on it. Definitely not against Dia.
Mm-hmm. PK.
Oh yeah, I when Dia first got down there, I commented on that I knew how rude that Rubicante was because, you know, I'd run into that in a race in the previous tournament. But that, you know, that's one of those where you sort of go in and you think, okay, this isn't going to be too terrible, and then, you know, the fire 2 start coming out, and you realize that, like, you sort of need like an actual like full strategy going into that. And
yeah, it's been a while since I had a real Rubicante fight. I can remember times where the ice 3 doesn't quite line up, but I wasn't sure if I could make those initial ice 3s work. So I tried a couple of times, I think, with slightly different party setups, but I think it's just that spot's too fast to actually hit the ice 3 on the first cloak. And I knew the magic was going to be a lot, but I was hoping Edge would be a little bit stronger and be able to beat Ruby in a damage race with little help, but wasn't quite there.
That early gameplay though on the moon and spying the Cave of Value. I mean, when you saw the fight, obviously, you know, yeah, we've all had that thought, like, hey, it's free experience, fantastic. When you got the pan from it, did it ever cross your mind, like, okay, you know what, this could be huge, or, I mean, or it could just be, well, that.
So I guess I was already feeling behind from the Ogo ordeal, so picking up the pan there, it felt pretty good. Of course, Dia could have also checked and gotten it, but knowing that I had that potentially an extra thing in my back pocket, and also the extra experience helps. So it was good to find that. Yeah, I guess it turned out to be an Excalibur, which in theory is pretty helpful, although I guess didn't get me much advantage in the end.
Trying to think if there was anything else. I mean, it was I'm not gonna say it was a straightforward seed. Any thoughts at possibly doing that tower when you saw that blue robe? Did that come into your mind at all, or was that going to be a fade period?
I thought about doing the half tower if I found the tower key when I saw that blue robe.
no one wants to do the gauntlet there.
I think I've done that enough this tournament. I think it came up earlier. Once is plenty enough for me.
That's fair. Well, you're 1-1. Obviously, game 3 is soon TM. You changing anything for game 3, or is this just one of those, hey, you know, the seed got me this time, next time we'll be fine?
Might try finishing faster next time. Thinking about that as a
I hear
possibility.
that does things. Yeah, I hear pushing buttons faster, I hear sometimes works as well.
I think I overlooted a little bit. I thought Dia had much lower loot count. I'm guessing Dia skips the treasury. I'm fine with taking the treasury there, but I think some area looting could be cut. But yeah, I think the main things were the wipes on those nasty bosses.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll look back, see if there's anything else to fix.
Yeah, Ruby is a boss on almost always isn't an issue until like there and Ogopogo or like minuscule spots where that magic actually does a lot. But
Well,
GG, have you figured
yeah.
out when your next round is going to be?
We have not. We're probably waiting on me to schedule. I'm always the trouble one.
All right, well, TBD, but all right, we'll look forward to the rubber match.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, take care.
GG's to Dia.
PK, I think our time is at a close.
It's been good, but like all
Yeah.
good things.
Yeah, have to come to an end, but that's okay because I hear we're going in a direction where yes, you too can have even more free enterprise in your life. I believe we're going to go say hi to Emily, those known as Poorly Drawn Bees.
Yeah, we have our raid target set up. Once again, thanks to Scala Kitty and Tybalt and Martin.
Always a pleasure, PK. I'm glad to be able to do this with you. And as always, folks, no spoilers. We know where you live. And the newspaper does hurt, let me tell you. Till then, take care. Good night, everyone.